Okay guys, welcome back to another episode of Gut Check Time. I'm your host. If you like this video, please like the content at any time. And if you want more like this in the future, please subscribe down below. And here we go. This is going to be NCAA Week 8. So far, this is gambling picks, and I am 34, 26, and 1 on the year, and 75 and 16 just straight up picks. So pretty good there. And pretty good in gambling also. It's just going to be 5 games this week. I was unable to shoot a video last night because I was busy watching the ALCS. My team was playing, so I'm going to watch it. Purdue versus Iowa. I'm going to take Iowa minus 17.5 here. I'm going to take Iowa big here. They've already lost 2 in a row, one on the road to Michigan, one at home to Penn State. They're not losing 3 in a row, and they're not losing 2 in a row and at home. So I'm taking Iowa minus 17.5. And I think the final score is going to be 38-13. So I'm taking the over of 48 because that gets you to 51. I just believe Iowa's going to be able to control Purdue physically on both the defensive line and the offensive line. Purdue doesn't have enough big men. And also, I think they're missing Rondale Moore. So that's a huge loss. That's pretty much their entire offense. So I'm taking Iowa to win and cover the minus 17.5. Next up, Arizona State versus Utah. Utah is 13.5 point favorites at home, with a great home field advantage, and I think it's going to be a good football game. I think it's going to be closer than Las Vegas thinks. I think Arizona State's a really good football team. I think defensively, they're very stout. I think Jaden Daniels is going to be a very good player. He's only 18 years old, and he's already playing very well. I'm going to take Arizona State plus 13.5 on the road here. I'm going to have Utah winning the game, though, 27-24. Again, that gets you to 51 points. The over-under here is 47, so I'm taking the over. And I'm taking Arizona State plus 13.5. Next up, in my opinion, the best game of the weekend. I don't think Michigan and Penn State's going to be a great game. And I'm going to talk about that later on. Oregon versus Washington. Washington is getting 2.5 points at home, which is rare. They have a great home field advantage. One of the coolest spots in all of college football. You can pull your boat up on the dock, top off, tailgate right outside the stadium. It's spectacular. I'm going to take Washington plus 2.5 here. I don't believe in Justin Herbert versus real defense. He's never beaten a real defense. I take that back. He has beaten one. He beat Michigan State last year in a bowl game. Guess how many points he scored? He scored 7. If Michigan State didn't have a god-awful offense, I think they would have won that. Michigan State would have won that game. I don't trust Justin Herbert in big-time situations. This is a big-time situation. You have one loss to Auburn. You can still make the college football playoff if you win out. Washington really doesn't have much to play for other than a Rose Bowl. Their season is pretty much over with 2 losses. I'm going to take number 25 Washington, though, to beat number 12 Oregon at home. It's an upset. I don't consider it an upset. I'm taking Washington 24-21, so give me Washington plus the 2.5 points, and I'm taking the under of 48. They both have good defenses. They both have quarterbacks who are super talented, but I'm not sure who they are at this moment. They have talent, like I said, but they have not seemed to show up in big moments when their teams needed them. I'm taking Washington to win this game, though, and the 2.5 points. Baylor versus Oklahoma State. This is a good game, a sneaky good game. A surprising line here, too. Baylor's the 18th ranked team in the country on the road to a 2-loss Oklahoma State team, and Oklahoma State's favored by 4 points. And usually when Vegas pulls stuff like this, they know what they're doing because everyone say, oh, why are they favored? Baylor should be favored in this game, even on the road, or even a pick 'em maybe. And for some reason, Oklahoma State's favored. And I've fallen for that trap before where the team that I didn't think should have been favored was favored, and I bet on the other team that I thought should have been favored, and I'm 0-2 doing that. So guess what? I'm picking the team that I don't think should be favored, but I'm taking them. I'm taking Oklahoma State -4, so that means they have to win the game, and I think they do win this game. Barely, though, to cover that spread. 33-28, so 5 points. And I'm taking the under of 68.5. I think both these teams play decent defense, especially Baylor. Baylor plays very good defense. And I think they'll be able to slow Chuba Hubbard and Spencer Sanders down enough to keep them to 33 points, which for that offense is that total's pretty good. I think they average around that on the season. So you're keeping them to their average at home, so that's a decent job. On the other hand, I do think Oklahoma State will be able to affect Charlie Brewer. Oklahoma State's not a great defense, but it'll be the second best defense they played. Texas Tech is probably the best. They've actually shown some life here after getting blown out by Oklahoma. But like I said, I'm taking Oklahoma State 33-28. That gets you 61 points. The over-under is 68.5, so take the under, and I take Oklahoma State -4. Next up, the night game. Always fun to watch with the whiteout. I think it's one of the best games of the year, especially when they play Ohio State. It's really good. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, and then I think Penn State pulls away at the end. Michigan has not found rhythm at all on offense. They got 2 weeks. We'll see if they figure out anything. They need to, because if they don't, Penn State's going to put up points late, in my opinion. I could see this being a 13-7 game at halftime, and then Penn State blowing them out in the second half. And that's what I think is going to happen. Penn State is favored by 9 points here. That's a lot of points to take. I'm taking it. I think Penn State wins this game 31-20. The over-under is 46.5. Take the over. I know that's a surprise because most people are probably going to pound the under here because both have good defenses, but their offenses are questionable against good defenses. I think Penn State has enough weapons like KJ Hamler and Journey Brown and Noah Kane that they can do some damage. Michigan has weapons on the outside. Tariq Black, Nico Collins, Donovan Peoples-Jones, but I don't know if they're going to be able to move the ball because of Shea Patterson. And I believe Dylan McCaffrey could play in this game. I think he should play in this game. I think he's the better quarterback, but I don't think Jim Harbaugh's ready to pull that trigger yet. I think he may pull it after this loss, though. I'm taking Penn State 31-20. I'm taking the over of 46.5, and I'm taking Penn State -9 here. Next up, we're going to run through this schedule, give a little bit of a breakdown of each one of these games. West Virginia, Oklahoma. Oklahoma is just too good of a team. The number 5th ranked team in the country, in my opinion. I think Ohio State, LSU, and Oklahoma are the 3 best teams. They've shown it. They've beaten good teams. LSU's beaten my Longhorns. And Oklahoma actually dominated us more than LSU did, which was quite surprising to me. That doesn't mean we can't be in the next round, the next time we play them, but we have to win out to do that. I think Oklahoma has too much offense. I don't think West Virginia has enough offense to keep up. I think their defense will be able to hold Jalen Hurts in check a little bit. Because let's be honest here, if you can shut CeeDee Lamb down, I think you can shut Jalen Hurts down. But I'm taking Oklahoma by 3 touchdowns. Clemson versus Louisville. I think Clemson wins this game rather easily. I think they probably win it by somewhere between 24 to 35 points. I'm taking Clemson to win. Wisconsin versus Illinois, much of the same. Wisconsin may get their 5th shutout on the season, which is absolutely insane. That means if they have 2 more shutouts on the season, what they have right now is 4. You would have shut out half your opponents in the regular season. That is insane. Their defense, I don't care who you're playing. If you shut them out, that's insane. I don't care if they played a high school team. I mean, think about that. They could make a mistake at their own 30-yard line. A team could pick them off. They could run it 10 yards, kick a field goal. That's 3 points. You could get a safety. All types of things you could happen not to get a shutout. They've had 4 of them. I'm taking Wisconsin big. Auburn versus Arkansas. I'm taking Auburn here by a lot. 2 weeks to prepare against the 2nd worst team in the SEC. Taking Auburn. Florida versus South Carolina, both coming off probably the biggest win for South Carolina they've had in a long time, and one of the biggest losses for Florida they've had in a long time. And what I mean by that is they were in that game in Death Valley. A couple breaks go their way. They could have won that game, so that was a gut-wrenching loss for them. I'm taking Florida by a lot here. South Carolina coming off a big win. That's going to be a big up and a big down. I don't like that, especially with young kids. I'm taking Florida. Temple versus ranked SMU. I'm taking SMU. Much of the same. SMU, I believe, has had 2 weeks to prepare for this game. Temple just came off a win versus a ranked Memphis team, a very good Memphis team that may only lose one other game the rest of the year, and that's when they play this ranked SMU team. So I'm taking SMU to win by 10 points. For LSU versus Mississippi State, taking LSU. They played a supposed top defense last week. And I agree, Florida's a top 10 defense. There's no disputing that. But the thing is, that gets under my skin is when they score 42 points versus the number 1 defense. But when they play anyone else, that just means that other team doesn't play defense. No, this team's just fantastic on offense. And they're going to average 45 points a game this whole year. They'll score 40 on Alabama. Just watch. LSU's going to roll versus Mississippi State by 3 touchdowns. Minnesota versus Rutgers. Rutgers is terrible. Probably the worst FBS team. I'm taking Minnesota. UL Monroe versus ranked App State. App State wins. I don't really know much about both these teams. Obviously, App State lost their coach, Scott Satterfield. Hasn't mattered. That's just a program that's continually gotten better since they beat Michigan when they were Division II, and then they moved up after that. They're good wherever they go. They've kind of turned into Boise State. I think they beat Louisiana Monroe rather easily. Tulsa versus Cincinnati. I think there's a chance for an upset here. But Cincinnati's played much better since they played Ohio State. I think they learned a lot about themselves in that game. I'm taking Cincinnati to win that game. Mizzou versus Vandy. I have no clue how Mizzou's ranked. They haven't played anyone, and they'll continue to play no one until 2 or 3 weeks from now when I believe they play Florida. I'm taking Missouri to beat Vanderbilt. Kentucky versus Georgia. Georgia's going to roll. They're angry about South Carolina last week. They're going to win this game by at least 3 touchdowns. Kansas versus Texas. I'm taking Texas here. As a Texas fan, I expect us to win this game by 4 touchdowns. Kansas is bad. This is at home. 50th anniversary of our championship team coming off a loss to Oklahoma. We should roll this game. Tennessee versus Alabama. I think this game is going to be closer than the spread. The spread, I believe, is 34.5. I think Tennessee will fight, probably lose around by about 27 points, but I think they'll cover. So I think they'll probably, like I said, 27 points, which is pretty much 4 touchdowns. I think Alabama's defense struggled. A lot of freshmen starting at linebacker, and that's not a good position group to start freshmen at. So I expect Bama to win this game by 4 touchdowns, but I expect it to be closer than the experts think. That'll be it for NCAA Week 8 gambling picks and predictions. Thank you for watching. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe if you want more content like this in the future. Thank you.